to Radiant Damage Podcast. Here we are your hosts for this evening. It's Paladin Ashley, Paladin Harley. We've got our Cleric here, Alyssa, joining us as well. Always a pleasure. So tonight we're not going to talk about anything too super serious. We're mostly just going to talk about some stuff that interests us, some things we're excited about for the upcoming 2020. There's a lot of geeky stuff coming out, and we have some beverages with us, some adult beverages. For YouTube, it's juice.
It's just a shake of some kind.
Coconut juice. Okay.
No, it's literally...
It is actually a shake of some kind.
It is eggnog.
It's totally
literally
without any nog. It's coconut milk. So
it's just eggs.
Just eggs.
Just eggs.
Totally normal. Okay, so
gotta get a power drink in for the podcast.
Exactly. She's trying to beef out. So
getting
swollen.
You gotta hype it up.
Exactly. So, nothing to see here. Algorithm. So, we are just going to geek out for the evening. So after we talk about the Witcher series, which we've all just finished, very excited about that. We're going to talk about, stuff we're looking forward to. And then these two are just going to geek out about Critical Role for the rest of the show because I have no idea anything about it. I know the very, very bare minimum from what she's told me and what Paladin Harley has shared with us as well. So
I will do my best to pick the most interesting and funny moments, which are a lot, but still, there's plenty to choose about.
Exactly. We also have Star-Lord joining us. So anyways, he's here in spirit. Okay, so great. So the first thing we were going to talk about is that Witcher series. I know we've shared some thoughts on it. Feel free to repeat yourself if you feel so inclined. So
I think the first thing to say would be Henry Cavill. Okay, that's Henry Cavill.
There you go.
Ended up being the perfect casting.
Yes.
I don't even play the game. But I've only seen it a few times from watching you. But I remember that voice during those cutscenes, and that is that voice.
Yes.
And since that's so deep and gravelly, the fact that he can do it, and it's clearly not his natural voice, but I don't feel the need to laugh like I would when another actor might do that.
Voice.
Yeah.
Like a Christian Bale, you might say.
Yes.
I don't think anyone should dispute that was just he did it perfect.
Yes. Agreed. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that Cavill nailed it, and I think that what helps, and I've told you this before, he actually is a gamer. He the way that he wants to spend his time is on the weekends is gaming, which is great. So he's actually played the games and he knows the character very, very well. And I think he's a huge fan, which always shows if an actor is a fan of the character that they're playing, of the material that they're given, they're always going to bring an extra something to it. And I really feel like he did that. He really brought an extra something. He really brought Geralt to life, in this role. And he was just my favorite part of the series. I loved it. And I think, I might be biased because, like she said, I played the game. I actually just finished it last night, finally. I took my sweet time with it, but I finally finished it last night. It did make me cry. And and Geralt was just great. He's a fantastic character, very, very well fleshed out. And I think Cavill really brought that all three dimensions to his character very, very well, to his on-screen portrayal. So that was definitely my favorite part of the series, was just watching him nail that character just so well, and in no dirty terms do I mean that. So what do you think, Harley? What are your thoughts on it?
What are my thoughts? I enjoyed it. I thought Henry Cavill was good in it. It took me the first 2 episodes to get used to the voice because, I've never played the games. I've only seen clips and heard stories from Ashley. So, and what vague Wikipedia searches to get some information on what the game's about. But like I said, it took 2 episodes, then I got into it. Some of the time jumping threw me off at first. The first couple episodes, I was like, are they jumping back and forward in time? Then finally, I was like, oh, I see what they're doing. But overall, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10, 8.5, something like that, if you had to rank it.
Hey, that's a good score.
Which is good for somebody who's barely knows anything about The Witcher. So
Right? Exactly. Except for when I've geeked out at you about it. So,
Hey,
which,
hey, I spent all that time geeking out about Critical Role, so you had to come back at me with something.
Foreshadowing for the later in this episode.
Mass Effect and Witcher.
Yeah, no, I love that series, which is very surprising too, because it does take a more horror take on fantasy. It does definitely have more of like a horror element to it. It's very, very much like Grimm's fairy tales version of fantasy, where it's like curses are real, and horrendous monsters can come out and just roam around this world. Definitely some really horrific elements to it, which is not normally my speed, but I think they do it in such a seamless way. They really marry those two genres so well that it still feels very much like just a different take on a fantasy. So I can still enjoy it.
Yeah. My favorite type of horror is pretty much only if it has lore and adds some fairy tale stuff, because that's usually, I do like jump scares actually, but that's just because I'm like, and I'm usually with someone and I can find fun in that. But that's my favorite, and I do love fairy tale and fantasy themes altogether.
Yeah.
About the time skip, actually, I kind of really liked that they didn't go out of their way to explain it. They didn't hold your hand. You eventually got what was happening. Yeah. And it could be confusing, but at the same time, it feels like they weren't underestimating the intelligence of their viewers.
Yes.
Because they were showing, not telling, and that's always great.
Absolutely.
And that's what I could tell what they were doing. I was like, I really appreciated that.
I did too. Yeah.
Even though it took me a while and I actually had to Google it.
Yeah. Once I caught on what was going on, I was like, oh, I get it now. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah. When I saw the incestuous prince and princess as children, I was like, y'all are both adults, and one of you is actually dead. What's happening?
That was my biggest clue as well. Brendan, he's a Ravenclaw, so he's just better at picking up this stuff than I am. I'm a Hufflepuff. I think we're all puffs here today.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
I forget that you're a puff. Yeah. Sorry. I hope that's not insulting.
Puff power.
Yay.
Yes. Black and yellow.
Yeah, exactly. I really, for viewers at home, I'm sorry if you really like Yennefer. I hate her. I've always hated her, and I think they did a great job.
Liking Yennefer, we don't do that here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we just don't. I'm not a fan of Yennefer. I think she's a terrible person. I know people have said she's better in the books. I actually recorded a rant of myself talking about her very fresh after one of the quests that I went on that just solidified my hate for her. So I might upload that at some point. I don't know. Yeah. It might be for patrons. I'm not sure. That might just be for patrons only.
Yennefer definitely plays a part in downgrading my score of the show. For sure. So
yeah. I was about to say I would give it a 9.5, and that 0.5 is just a reduction for Yennefer. Just an unfortunate part of the show. And again, maybe she's better in the book. So we're not talking about the book, so it kind of doesn't matter.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Every time
all about what the show shows you
about how much I don't like Yennefer in the games. Somebody always comes out of the woodwork, and I'm like, "Where did you come from?" And
they appear behind a bush.
Always crawl out.
And then they say, but in the books, and they hide again.
She's nice. And I'm like, I don't care about the books. I've never read the books. I don't plan. I'm sorry, Andres, however you say his name. I don't care to read your books.
Let's not try to butcher that one.
Yeah, this is the character that I've been introduced to. This is the character I'm familiar with. This is the character that I'm judging. And I'm judging her hard. She's a terrible person. She's always been abusive to Geralt. I don't enjoy seeing that. That's not fun to watch for me. It's not funny, and so that's, for me personally, I did appreciate that, at least in the series, I guess they made her a little closer to the books, so she's a little bit more likable, and I know
which is hard to think about, because I really think she's pretty awful. It's really in the last episode where I'm like, I didn't find myself actively disliking her.
Yeah. Like I actually liked her in the first couple episodes when I was like, oh, this is an interesting character. She's going through but then when she went through the magic makeover, I was like, there was a stark turn. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah. And then they did the time jump, and I'm like, why is she a badass all of a sudden? She's talking to people, like talking crap to people left and right. I was like, how does she know Geralt? I was like, well, what's going on? Then I remembered. I was like, oh, right. Time has passed. They probably heard of her at this point.
Yeah. she definitely makes a name for herself, and she gets to be pretty infamous. She is a fantastic, version of she's very much a Slytherin. She's, no shade towards Slytherin. She's like the worst version that you could be. But she
every house has a bad version.
Exactly. And she definitely conveys like the worst you could be where ambition and cunning just come above everything else. And some people might think that we're being harsh, but I'm sorry, again, we're not talking about book yet of her.
Yes, this is also talking about opinions, so it's
exactly.
Sorry. I didn't feel like the character earned her like confidence, and all of a sudden I'm a badass witch. I was like, your mentor can still kick your ass. Like, what are you talking about? Like, she wanted to.
I think somebody probably needed to put her ego down at just a few notches.
They tried to slap her down a couple times. They were like, you need to chill out. You're not as powerful as you think you are. But
exactly.
Ego-driven witches don't deal with that. So
the part I disliked the most was her talking about. So she goes through the surgery to make herself look different. The guy beforehand literally says, "Do you know what this costs?" And she was clearly told beforehand what would happen to her body, and she consented. And of course, because of her ego, she said no medication. I thought maybe she would be able to. No, clearly you're having a surgery. Anyway, but then later she brings it up and she's acting like they took it without her consent or knowledge. And I was like, he literally warned you beforehand and he
looked you in the eye.
You knew that's what was coming out of your body.
Yes.
And it's just like you had the chance. You literally could have just not done it and no one would have made you do it. It didn't show at all that she would be forced to do it. And if that's what would happen, that would have made sense. If she was somehow forced to do it, then I would understand that quest for wanting a baby a little bit more. But more, it was just she regretted her decision and she was acting like it was other people's decisions, which is a thing people do, but it's a thing bad people do.
That one came out of nowhere for me too. I was like, all of a sudden now she wants a kid. I was like, well, when did this happen? Like I said, it didn't help with the time jump. I'm like, I missed a lot of story here. I was like, what are her goals? Like, I don't know anything about her other than that she wanted power.
Yeah.
And I hated that subplot romance with her lover. I was like, oh, get on with this. Because they jumped from one episode to the next of them having all of a sudden been in a relationship. It seemed like for 2 years. I was like, they were having a major relationship fight. I'm like, when did you guys discuss all this stuff of wanting to rule this place and do this and do that? I'm like, I get time passed, but I was like, you just jump really fast. That threw me off too. But I just
I think I would have liked to see a little bit of aggression, but I think like I understand some of the choices where it's just like they were focusing. They needed to get back to Geralt plenty of the time.
Get back to the story,
but it was jarring a few times where you're like, "Oh, y'all get together." I guess we missed the part where y'all officially got together because there was just implied.
They were all of a sudden sharing their hopes and dreams together. If they've been in love for like 6 years, I was like, "What? Wait a minute, when did this happen?" I was like, "When are you soulmates?" When did that happen? I was like, "You guys just liked each other last time I saw."
Yeah.
We skipped the like part.
we skipped the first date. Like, what happened? It must have been really magical.
Yeah.
I thought it was cute at first before she went bad. Like he genuinely liked her before. Like I think he wasn't told to manipulate her from the beginning, but I also think he actually cared. His intent, like he still did something wrong, but at least you could see the compassion in him the whole time, even when he rejected her that last time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 100% agree.
Like I said, I liked it in the beginning too, but then it just took a turn with it took a dive with her character arc. I was like, oh, well, I guess she this has to go wrong because that's part of her story, I guess.
It is. I heard that the series does stick close to the books. What did you guys think of Ciri's character? I know since she's a kid, it's kind of like there's not as much to really analyze there yet. But I do still think that she brings enough to maybe have a discussion about like whether you like her, whether you think she's annoying, like whatever.
Honestly, she wasn't around long enough to get to know anything about her half the time. I was like, she's just running around the woods meeting random people.
Yeah, that's fair.
There were a lot of times I was upset at her, but only when she started not considering Dara her friend. Because he met her immediately and almost he became family to her so quickly.
Yeah.
But she started near the end, she started bossing him around and really not appreciating him. And I really liked when he left. He was like, no, you're not. Here's all the things you're not considering me in these decisions. And she was kind of a brat in response on it. I like her relationship with her granddad her adopted granddad before he died. It was but I was like, that was really cute to me. Cute. I like that. Yeah. I knew, I was like, I'm so sad. They were such a good couple. Good couples always die, apparently.
Yeah. As soon as I saw the relationship between her and the granddad, I was like, oh, he's dead. I was like, he's too cool. He's going to die. He's going to die within the first episode. It's not gonna
be when they're too good, they're like, gosh damn it, you're going to die soon, aren't you? It's always a shock when they do that, and I'm like, precious.
Like in C.
Yeah.
Again, I'm gonna go ahead and
that definitely gave me some Game of Thrones vibes. I was like, oh, these characters are so gonna die. I was like, you're gonna like them. They gotta go.
Yeah, for sure. So personally, I feel like my favorite aspect, though, aside from seeing just elements from the game, like I just really enjoyed seeing him fight monsters. It was just so pure Witcher, and I just loved it. I really felt like it was like me playing a game, or like watching a cutscene or something. Really well rendered cutscene. But aside from that, I really did enjoy how much depth they gave to a character who literally has very little dialogue. I mean, like the memes are so funny and so accurate. Like he doesn't really speak much, and yet he says so much. I think that's really well. That's again, the acting though. So I really enjoyed seeing that a lot. I also felt like that Geralt was very similar to like my Geralt, how I would play it, because he was kind of more good than he often is depicted.
Yes, I like to think of him as an actual hero who pretends he's an anti-hero, because it's just
that's
like
how I felt watching the show.
Sometimes you think just full anti-hero, but it's just like, no, you're just a hero. If something bad is going on and you're nearby, even if you act like you're not going to do something, you do something. You're just a begrudging hero.
Yeah, he cares.
He
cares, but he wishes he didn't. Yeah, he wishes he didn't care, but he does. I think that's a fantastic and not very often utilized character archetype. Because he knows the cost of caring. I think he's grown clearly very jaded in this messed up world of actual monsters and really creepy shit that he has to face on a daily basis.
And dummies being mean to him even though he could destroy them.
Oh my god. Okay,
that's a weird concept to me. It's like, y'all know how dangerous he is and that you're bullying him.
Yes.
I don't know why you think that's a good idea.
Every time he shows up, people are like, oh, Geralt, we all know the stories about him. Then they still challenge him to a fight. I'm like, what are you doing? You're going to lose, man.
Right?
You're not going to win. Why try? Save yourself.
Yeah, exactly. No, honestly, in the games, it's so annoying because wherever you go, people spit on you and they just call you mutant and they curse at you and they tell you to go die. And it's just like, you don't even know what I'm doing. Right now, I'm literally saving y'all's asses right now.
That's all he does.
No gratitude whatsoever. I don't care if it's for money, okay? Sometimes it is.
People just have never tried asking him to do it just to do it. He'd probably still do it. He probably has.
I mean, my Geralt does.
Yeah,
all the time.
I'm sure he's taken a couple pro bono cases before, every once in a while.
Yeah. Protecting his bard friend for free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did that, and he wore those stupid clothes too.
Yeah.
Clearly, you're just doing it because you're a good person. You're just grumpy.
Yeah,
adorably grumpy.
It's true.
You're just being Vegeta right now, dude. You're like.
Exactly.
You're trying to not be a badass. You're trying to be a badass when you just relax, dude. Chill out. You don't have to be angry all the time.
Just enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
Your pink and it's all good.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought that it was really cool how they conveyed how like Geralt actually does soften when it comes to Ciri, when he is, and I loved that he never confirmed or denied all of the rumors about witchers and emotions. If you notice, he never said whether that was true. Everyone said that they're emotionless, and he never confirmed or denied that. He just let them say it, and
it's clearly not true.
Exactly.
He's a secret cinnamon roll.
Yes. No,
I was going to ask you guys about that one. I was going to be like, is it true they don't have emotions, or are they trying to intentionally being vague about it?
No, the truth is that they do have subdued emotions. It's like somebody on medication, you know what I mean? Like there's some medications where that's a side effect. That's what it's like when they become mutated. They are still capable of emotion, but it's more subdued, which is why he doesn't emote all that much, but he still does, because he's still very much is human. So yeah, but yeah, thank you for asking about that, because it, for people watching the series, not actually like looking into the lore as much, that might be very easily misconstrued, because he doesn't confirm or deny it, but it very much is just a rumor, because there are good witchers and bad witchers, and a lot of them are not good. So, because they do often take advantage of tragedies and like really bad situations involving monsters in order to make a living. And they're all children of surprise. So all of them are taken by witchers at a young age, and they're orphaned basically at that point. They're just adopted by witchers forcibly, usually. And so they all have terrible childhoods. Then going through the trial of grasses, only 3 out of 10 boys survive the mutation process. And it's excruciatingly painful. It's like the worst way to die, because it's literally like changing your DNA from the inside out. So so just a little lore for you guys. That's why he's a terrible emoter, and he's not good at like sharing his feelings.
I assume that has something to do with why they dull their emotions. Like I assume that's probably why they're a little out of it sometimes.
Yeah, it's literally like a part of the mutation, I think, is that they genuinely like their emotions are when they go through their training, it's including the mutation part, it just subdues like their ability to feel. I don't think that it's voluntary. I think that's like part of it. Like from what I understand, but correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please. Please always feel free to correct me.
I assumed it had something to do with how they ever use magic and it changes them. And you have to turn your emotions off to be a killing machine. So
that's very true. That's a really good point. Well, and something I love about Geralt is he does not kill anything that has like the ability to speak and reason, unless it's like straight evil.
Yeah, or like you force him to kill you, like that lady he fell in love with too fast and then immediately died.
Yeah,
but to be fair, kind of explain that, where maybe it was magic because she just had a way with men.
She was like a siren. Yeah,
but he still kind of like had a torch for her for a little while. But I was like, you have bad taste in women.
Yeah,
bad
taste. Just get around a little more. Find you some more ladies. There's got to be some less crazy ones out there.
I mean, apparently he does, but he still finds them in just other places.
I guess in his line of work, that's what you're going to run into. So it's like either a witch or a crazy lady.
Well, it's kind of like in the superhero world, like like a superhero dude doesn't like to settle down with just any lady, even if they're sweet. They prefer to settle down with somebody who can like keep up with their line of work. And he's the same way. I think he prefers a woman who's powerful. So unfortunately, with that power, they tend to also get an ego. And so I think that's how it's usually been for him. And when it comes to Yen, they are actually bound by that djinn, the genie that he unleashed. That final wish that he used to save her life actually bound their destinies together, so they are destined to be together. And speaking of, real quick question, what do you guys think that he wished for? Because it's not actually made clear.
Oh, I Googled it.
Yeah, really?
And it told me apparently what he wished for. But if it's not supposed, if it's like if someone's lying and they're just speculating, I thought it was just
I'm
like
pretty
looking
sure
for
I know what it was, but go ahead.
Is that fair if I Googled it?
Hey, go ahead.
Why don't you, Harley, why don't you say what you think it was, if you have any thoughts on what it might have been?
I kind of chose not to look into it too much to let it see if it comes up later in the series. Like
Yeah.
if it ties into it, like the end of it, like what he wished for. Like they flash back to that moment and he says what he wished for or something like that.
I believe it. I believe that might happen. So what did you find in your Google search?
Well, it said that he wished to die with her, and a djinn can't kill their master.
Mm-hmm.
So it's making it so the wish was basically Jin couldn't kill her,
Mm-hmm.
so he had to just leave. But it still made them intertwined, so they're connected. So neither of them can like die without the other. So it's like a blessing and a curse. At least that's what the Google translate. And apparently there was like another wish where he wanted to have a child with her because I think he actually
theories,
yeah.
And that's like one of the biggest theories. The other one, is that he
and that's kind of how they both end up being entwined with Siri, even though it should just be Gerald.
Yeah.
Because because having a child can mean several things, not necessarily through actual birth.
But adoption is also possible.
Let me have a child with her. Make that happen.
Yeah. Well, and
I
mean, for sure. And I mean, that's what I think he meant when he said he was right about her too, is like, I think he knew immediately that he loved her enough that he wouldn't mind having a child with her, even though that's not like his speed normally.
They met that day.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was a little fast there.
First Frozen movie, because the thing is, at least Hans seemed like a good guy. She was bad from the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Her introduction to him was awful.
That was terrible.
It really bothered me.
Yeah.
Because of just, it wasn't just that she got them all horned up. It was literally a spell. And then when she undid it, they were clearly mortified. So it's like, oh, none of them at all consented to this.
Yeah, the orgy that
this was not consensual. That really upsets me.
Yeah, that was really awkward. Just so weird.
That's bro.
Yeah. She's got a really very specific weird kink. So I'm gonna kink shame her.
Roll out.
So
it's not consensual? Shame.
Exactly. Final rating. So Harley, you gave your rating, which is really good, like 8.5 you said out of 10.
Yeah, I enjoyed it much more than I thought I would. So
nice. That's great. So what would your review be?
9.5.
Right.
And the point is just for yin and some of the special effects, just a little bit. It's like, okay, but that's just budget, like they're working with what they have. It wasn't even that.
You got to work with what you got. So
yes, I actually am going to give it an 8.5 out of 10, maybe a 9. Just the extra 0.5 is just literally because I did not have to relive the trauma that I dealt with. They didn't make me go through that again, which I really appreciated. The Striga was going to be something way worse in the game. It's so much worse in the game.
Oh.
The fetus thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I thought it was the same story, but they had different elements. Like the incest part was different, I think.
It's I think they combined different stories in the books.
Because it sounds different. It definitely had a different outcome than I remember.
Definitely a much better outcome. 100,000% better than in the game.
Yes.
Yeah. Yikes. Anyway, so that's mine, probably like an 8.5 or 9 out of 10. I thought it was great. I think they did a fantastic job. So moving forward, if everyone's ready, we can go into what we're all anticipating for 2020. It's coming up fast.
I'm looking forward to, as far as shows, I'm looking forward to the movie Onward, that new Pixar movie. That looks really good. Chris Pratt and Tom Holland, I feel a very funny duo together in that.
I forgot that was coming out in 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, and I believe on Netflix the next season of She-Ra is coming.
Yeah.
I binged that recently and I really like it.
Nice.
Yeah, I've seen a couple episodes. I gotta go back and finish it. So,
Awesome.
We don't know when the Critical Role cartoon is coming out, do we?
I think they vaguely alluded to next year, but you never
it's
know.
vague. I'm not gonna say.
They were like, they don't want to say an exact date just in case it changes, but basically they were like probably late, like November of 2020, probably, I assume.
If an update is probably, I'm like, I don't want to. I'm not even gonna look at that.
Yep. give a definite date or nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Harley? What are you looking forward to in 2020?
Black Widow. Finally get a Black Widow movie. Which, long time coming, but it looks fun. So of course, I think the other Marvel shows are starting in 2020. Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm looking forward to that. And the Marvel's What If animated show. That looks cool.
Oh yeah, that should be really good. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to so many things. I put like a whole list. My number one.
Prey too, right?
Yes, I was gonna say my number one is Birds of Prey. I'm definitely like a huge Harley Quinn fan, and I think I've probably mentioned that on the cast before. But I'm a huge fan of Harley Quinn, and I think Margot Robbie just plays her perfectly. I think that's another great example of someone who really gets the character that she's playing. And so Birds of Prey is probably my number one. I am also looking forward to Onward and Black Widow and Wonder Woman 1984.
Yes. Yeah, that was
good. Oh my gosh. So excited for that.
I still haven't seen the first Wonder Woman. I don't know how that's possible.
Well, I know what we're doing later.
I just finally saw Detective Pikachu last night, so
I haven't seen that yet either. I don't know how these amazing
really
games are seen yet.
It's really good. I liked it.
I'm just gonna hold you hostage. I'm just gonna watch it. No, don't worry, Anna. You're probably gonna need to recharge your battery. This is like a whole. Okay, but
Wonderful.
yes, definitely. She finally saw Frozen 2 today.
Oh,
so it's
yeah.
really good.
Really good.
Really good moment.
I've never seen the second one yet.
It's so good. It's so good. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, there's also Eternals is coming out this next year, which is Marvel.
Is it really? Wow, I didn't realize it was 2020. Wow.
Yeah, I looked it up just to make sure.
I probably should have done that too, but
no, it's okay.
that seemed crazy to me that it would come out in 2020. Is they take like 2 years to film these movies anyway, so I assumed it would be next year, or the next year.
1 year is just probably CGIing everything.
Oh, that reminds me. I'm looking forward to Sonic. I'm not even in Sonic, but after they saw the train wreck and they were like, you know what? Yeah, and they fixed it. I was like, you know what?
Yeah,
I want that to be encouraged because they did it in the right context.
Yes.
Like
that second trailer. That second trailer sold me on it. I was like, all right, this looks fun now. I was like, you fixed the problem.
I didn't even realize
Sonic.
I didn't even actually realize how bad the first one was because I was like, oh, that looks fine, until I saw them fix it. And I was like, oh, yeah, that would have been a monstrosity. Probably, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. You did us all a favor on that one.
It actually looked like something straight out of The Witcher. I don't know if you remember that hedgehog guy.
I do, actually. I was like, oh, wow.
They're related.
Oh man, that thing you're talking about the one that knight cut down, right?
The hedgehog dude that
not the hedgehog, sorry.
No, you're fine.
That guy.
Yeah.
I was thinking that quick Witcher thing. I hated that over righteous knight who killed that innocent creature. Geralt was like, oh, it's harmless. And he just destroyed it like a maniac. And I'm like, that legitimately upset me so much.
He like quadruple tapped it. Like
it was gentle. Geralt, who like trusts him about these creatures, is like, it's harmless, and he was just gonna give it food. It was gonna go away.
I was so upset. That's exactly what I was talking about. Geralt knows, and he's not about to harm something that's harmless.
He's compassionate.
Yeah, he actually is compassionate, even with monsters, which is like his thing, to kill them. He still
He's got
knows.
a real green vibe going.
Yeah, like honestly, he genuinely cares about these creatures, and it's so cute because he's kind of a geek about it. I kind of love that. What you got there?
I don't know.
Did you have too much juice? It's fine.
He drifted off for a second there. Like, oh wait, I'm back.
Yeah, you're fine. So, yes, I think that's a fantastic point, and definitely, if there's anything else that you guys want to talk about that you're looking forward to in 2020, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Mm,
Trying to think. Drawing a blank at the moment, so I'm sure I'll think of something later, but oh well.
Going into the next subject. So the final subject of this episode in particular is going to be, I'm going to allow you guys I'm going to let you loose. Just let you free. You're going to geek out about Critical Role for as much as you want. If you want to talk about what's been happening, what's going to happen, whatever you want to talk about on that subject, have at thee.
okay.
How do you want to do this?
Okay. Let's see.
So what's been happening? Tell me, give me the rundown as somebody who's never watched a single episode.
Oh,
Wait.
Good rundown.
See advertised.
You got 2 campaigns worth of stuff to talk about, so I don't know. I don't even know where to start.
I like to start with some of the ridiculousness because what drew me into it was actually, here's some truth tea. It was actually someone else that got me into a Critical Role because I was on a little writing roleplay site and someone was talking about it and I didn't register it was the same thing that you were into at the time. And what got me was there's a barbarian in the first campaign. His name is Grog.
Grog, the best character.
He's a true barbarian, a true I would like to rage man. And there was a scene where there was a disgruntled dwarf, and they really wanted to get information from this dwarf. And the talkers are one of the twins of the half-elves, which is called Vexalia, which I love her. She was into it with the girls. It didn't quite work. Then he gets up to go over, and everyone's like, no.
Don't let Grog do the talking. We know how this goes.
He says, I have an intelligence of 6. I've got this. And that's all I needed. And that's how I got into the show, because I was like, I need to know what else happened, especially with that character. That sounds like a guy I would like. And I was
the comedy genius. I'm just saying it here.
Scanlan's Cube. I'm just going to say that and leave it alone, and you can let your imagination run free, and it'll probably be correct. Oh.
Interesting.
One thing I kind of wanted to get into, because I know I think we're on actually opposite sides of this.
Okay.
Oh, yikes. This is going to get hot.
Oh, okay. Oh, hot take. Let's go.
I'm respectful of that, my opinion, though. I don't go the toxic route a lot of people have went.
Oh.
I'm not a Keyleth fan. I would never say she shouldn't have been in the show. I don't agree with that. But I
great.
Absolutely did not find myself enjoying her very much. Mostly, I think the most reasonable reason not to like her is what she did with Lady Kima when she first met her. I forgot what Lady Kima is. Halfling. She's a halfling paladin of Bahamut. He is a lawful good deity dragon.
Yes.
And also, she was known to be they knew she was a close friend of
Allura.
Yeah. Right? They knew that. Because the story started before after that a little bit, where we didn't see the beginning of that quest.
Yeah, but they knew that Allura had a history with Kima, so yeah, that's why they were sent to find her. So
yeah, they were sent to rescue her, really.
Yeah.
So find her. She's naked and tortured on a table. She is a little abrasive. She was a little abrasive towards Pike, which is the absolute cinnamon roll of the group. I get that was uncalled for. They just let her off. She didn't just have to. She briefly was like angry. They had just defeated her torturer, and she's like, "Can I see your weapon?" And Pike is like, Pike's a tiny little gnome, and little like she worships Saren Ray, which is the goddess of justice and stuff. And she's so sweet, and she's played by Ashley. I love her. Yeah. And so she's like, "Well, this is my only weapon. I don't I don't, because she was trying to like, I'll probably give it to you, but I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And Kima is a woman of a few words, so she just kind of took it, which was rude. And
Kima's a badass, but you know.
So that I get disliking her a little bit, but she's still naked and she just wanted to do it to beat on the torturer because she'd been down there for who knows how long. And I know Matt doesn't put certain things in, like, so it's very unlikely she was
tortured, violated, kind of tortured. Yeah.
Okay.
But when I first watched it, I didn't know he didn't do that. So my thought was like, what if that happened to her if she was naked? But that's just easier for someone if they're naked, I guess. It's just, it's amazing. So that still happened.
Yeah.
And they had a mind flare, which is a octopus-faced underground being that eats your brain. Usually known as their actual alignment is generally evil, for whatever called, not neutral, evil.
Yeah.
Evil.
But because how Keyleth and Vexalia found him, they were kind of like thought he was a friend.
They chose the wrong side, is what we're getting at here.
Yeah, Lady Kima was like, I don't want to travel with one of my torturers, and I'm like, that's fair. But everyone got mad, but they somehow convinced. The thing that just I didn't understand what's happening was when Keyleth got really aggressive with her at one point, and she was saying things that weren't relevant and didn't happen. She was acting like she was giving gospel and trying to make everyone worship Bahamut, which she hadn't done that.
Or that yet. Yeah, definitely. She hadn't become a leader yet, that's for sure.
And I was like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
And then she was nothing afterwards. So it made it like really hard to like Keyleth. But I never got to like hate her.
Yeah. You're not harassing the actress on Twitter, you know. So
like especially in the first campaign, they were just doing it for fun. And sometimes, characters like they may not be perfect, because I'm pretty sure that was her first campaign, like, period, right? Like everyone else was pretty much in D&D, but she was kind of new, right?
She was brought in for that home campaign when they started, so like she was brought in with mentality to help everybody else out, because she had a little bit of experience. But
so that's Keyleth. That's definitely like your feelings on Keyleth, I know, are very strong. So like, do you have any sort of strong feelings about Critical Role that you'd like to express, maybe vent, or sort of character?
Let's see, strong feelings. I love Critical Role, as you guys well know. It's been a big part of my life the last couple of years. It's got me out of a lot of bad things. So, besides meeting you guys over the last couple of years and hanging out with you guys and Jake and some of our other friends. But like I found Critical Role at the exact right time I needed to find it. So, and I kind of just maybe I'm just the weird guy that I try to like every character, and even I have complicated feelings about Keyleth. I definitely like Keyleth.
I liked her at the end.
Yeah, I like Keyleth now. Like I like who she's
off the cliff. That was the most I ever liked her.
She did the bitch, I was like, all right, this character's kind of adorable now. Well, I think it just took Marisha like that first campaign to finally get comfortable playing the character. And by the time it got into the post-Dragon arc and that stuff, I was like, oh, I get who this character is now. It makes so much sense. Like, she's trying to be a leader, but she's super awkward and doesn't understand how to get it across to people. She's super what's the word? She's insecure about herself, so she pushes too far sometimes and doesn't know when to call herself back.
Yeah.
When she actually started dating Vax and they were actually together, that's when I started feeling like, okay, I think she's got the groove. I still didn't especially enjoy her, just personally, because I don't think her character type is one that I'd get too much enjoyment out of. But it was finally got to the point where I was like, okay, I feel like I'm good. But I definitely, Lady Kima really bothered me for a long time, because that just felt really uncalled for. At least in the character wise, you know, Marisha understand like and everything, and she really wanted to be a wise person.
Yeah.
But it just was coming off as preachy, which was weird because she was accusing the paladin of being preachy.
Keyleth definitely had some self-righteous moments over the
Yeah, that's what I think I would call it.
Yeah.
Especially with the Ryshawn conversation. It was like, oh, you're threatening an ancient dragon. What are you doing? You don't know more than
like it was like your friends are here too. If she was alone, then I would be like, you know what, this is kind of badass for you to stand up, but you're not considering other people around you. Which I was like, and she kept doing that. I think that was the part that got most fans, was that she talked back to an ancient dragon. And then she kept doing it.
People. So
she was being more ragey than the
Grog. When Grog's the voice of reason, we got a problem.
Yeah, like her anger was justified, but it didn't hit the same as more other justified angers in the show.
Yeah, it didn't feel earned at that moment. Like, it didn't feel earned at that moment because we'd only kind of briefly known about what happened in her past. You know what kind of happened. So
yeah,
like Vex and Vax. You know, their backstory definitely ties into the dragons and how they did. Entire backstory is because of that. So
their mom was murdered by the main dragon bad guy, Thordak. And even then, they didn't get quite as mad.
Yeah,
I really liked how they handled the anger and the grief. They didn't even say this is the one who killed her mom. They didn't have that big sort of expositional moment. There was just a glance between them, and they're like, do you think this is what it was like when they were looking at like the aftermath of his attack? And I was like, I really liked that as an acting choice for them.
Yeah, that was cool. They're all really good actors though. Like, you have to give them, like, they all really settle into their roles really well. Even the new campaign, they've like found a way to make even dope characters in that campaign too.
I love all of everyone in the second campaign. I adore. I don't have a problem with anyone. Like obviously, clearly, like you said, Marisha definitely.
Marisha's kind of playing herself, so it helps now. So
yeah, that does help.
Okay, you were. I was going to ask. Yeah, no, that's fine. So I was going to ask. So one of the things that is kind of appealing about this, series, which I'm sorry, I like fidget a lot. So
no, I keep moving. I like it helps me talk.
It's just me. I know, me too. So I think it's ADHD again. But
I'm trying to use my hands myself. So go ahead. Free to general.
I got my nails done, so I want them kind of a camera because I really like how they do that.
Bam! Click clacks on your fingernails. That's great. So one thing that's really appealing to people who watch Critical Role, I've noticed, is the interactions, not just of the characters, but of the actors themselves. And sometimes there's some drama that happens, and I thought that it would be interesting to ask you guys what your take was when I think wasn't somebody asked to leave at some point?
They dealt with their problem. Well, I'll just not everything. Nobody knows for sure on certain things, but there was an original member of Critical Role who was quickly, due to personal issues, was becoming a problem behind the scenes, and he was dealt with. Then come to find out, he did some not so great things, taking advantage of the fan base.
I found that out recently. Like, he kind of stole money.
He stole money from the fan base, and that was the hard
term. Like, this isn't speculation. That was like he did that. Oof. Yeah.
Yeah. Stole money from the fans. So yeah, that's a no-go. So
And just as a character, as a player, despite any qualms anyone can ever have with Keyleth, she never intentionally metagamed. She never intentionally was inconsiderate at other people's time. She liked having a lot of time for speeches, but it never seemed like she didn't want other people to have a moment.
She avoided it unless it was going to come up. So, yeah.
Basically, Orion was like another person we had. Who, because I don't want to.
Let me explain for the viewers watching. Okay, so all three of us, including and Jake as well, all four of us actually are we met and kind of like really got to know each other through, okay, well, we knew each other since high school, but Paladin Jake, Paladin Harley, and the two of us really, you know, got as a group to get to know each other better through this role play. It was an online writing, you know, role play that we, you know, have had going on for a while now.
You know, I wasn't talking about that guy, but also actually, yes, you could also do this guy. I was talking about in the D&D game.
Oh my God! Yeah,
a certain person who.
Okay, so we've had to deal with a lot of craziness. So
I don't think so. Okay, cool.
I had to play with someone. We had to play with someone who was almost exactly like Oren. I swear. I was rewatching it and I was like, oh my God, it's the same person.
Yeah, we had a lot of issues with that person. You know, and no shade towards that person because again, like some people can be perfectly fine to be friends with in real life, but if you want to like work with them or in this case role play with them, they're not as great. You know, it's just like some people you can't live with, but you can be great friends with them. It's just one of those cases where like he had some issues that he was taking out, and we have experienced that a lot in the role play, the online writing role play that we've been a part of, is, you know, we tend to like notice there's sometimes we, you know, Harley, you remember that we've had some crazy people in this in that group.
Yeah, it's coming and going.
Yes, so like there's like a little bit of a revolving door sometimes because I think especially with writers, like they tend to sometimes have an ego. I've recognized it in art as well. Like as an artist, I've noticed there are some people who like because they have a talent, they tend to think that that's a ticket to kind of treat people a certain way, you know, or, you know, think a little more highly of themselves than maybe other people in this area. And that's not great. That's not a great attitude to have. But in the case of the D&D campaign that, you know, we were part of, I'm still in it, but yeah, it was really interesting dealing with this specific person because he just did not seem to care about anybody else,
Orion,
but his own character, and what he wanted his character to become was all powerful, and just he wanted to be able.
Real familiar, actually. Yeah.
Literally, it was like Orion.
It's the exact comparison. Yeah.
It was literally him. Like, he pretty much made also cheating.
He cheated
he did.
Right in front of the DM sometimes because the DM is related to him. DM's my husband. It's my brother-in-law. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I'm sorry. Because he's
hey, it happens.
He doesn't watch her stuff. But yeah, it was my brother-in-law. He was just kind of crazy. Like he, you know, it was. I don't think he could deal with not being in control, not being in the DM, and so you know like there were just times when he would straight up re-roll a roll and he was not given permission to do that. That's usually a huge no. Like
he
what
didn't
you
have
roll, you
luck.
get.
He didn't have a reason for advantage.
Nothing at all. He just literally was. He said it out loud once. He's like, "No, I'm gonna roll again." And I saw him do it. He was right across from me, and I was like, "Wait a minute!"
Pretty sure you can't do that. Unless the DM says you can roll again.
It allows you to do that. And he had so many feats that he probably shouldn't be able to have. Like, he did a lot of homebrewing, which is fine with our DM, but he did so much that our DM, he was just constantly berated with questions from this player of, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? And I think he kind of wore him down because the one time that the DM actually said no, the one time he threw this huge hissy fit, it caused like a massive shockwave of a bunch of people leaving the game because he made it such a deal through a hissy fit. He dragged it out into actual real life issues. Like it was just a whole mess. I don't know if Orion did that, but it sounds like he might have because it sounds like
he definitely tried to win D&D more than play D&D.
Yes, he constantly tries to win. Yes, absolutely. Again, it was just like. It was so weird. I was like, why is Orion at this table and his name is something else? It was just like that. And again, no shade to my brother-in-law as a person, just as a player. I think he's so used to being because as a DM, if you re-roll, it's usually for the benefit of the group. Yes. Or it's for fun. Yeah. So it makes sense as a DM. I don't think I could begrudge them for re-rolling as long as they're not trying to like. What is it? Killer DMs or something like that. Ones who are like want to kill you. As
Yeah.
long as it's not bad, yeah. If there's something like that, I would not want to personally
Oh, yeah.
play that. Yeah. So I think maybe it felt like he was a DM that didn't, because a lot of DMs want to be players, but it's just like someone has to be the DM. But this, I think, it was almost the opposite, where it just didn't seem to fit. Like it definitely felt like he wanted to be the main character. He wanted to tell the story, and I also just didn't like. I just didn't like somehow the way he would interact with our DM a lot, because I was just like, this feels kind of manipulative. Yeah, and like inconsiderate. Like sometimes he was like, "Oh, this item seems a little overpriced, but I guess how much?" Or like, "I guess maybe I'll get it." Or like, "This doesn't seem so much too useful, but how much is it?" Like it felt weird to like. These are magical, wondrous items up for grabs, and sometimes you like if you have the money, you could probably get it. Like you don't necessarily even have to role play it. Yeah. And it always personally just irked me because it felt like really disrespectful of the DM, in my opinion.
My husband is, our DM, and he's so generous. He's like probably way too, like in my opinion, too lenient. Okay, like he's really nice. He actually is the type of DM who has on several occasions re-rolled to not kill us when we probably should have died.
Where it's totally nice, and it's like that's really cool of you because you're the DM, so it makes sense for you to re-roll.
Yes, and
as a player,
take your mercy roll.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, that was our experience with real life Orion, and again, no shade to his person. Doing this a third time just to make sure.
Yeah, just the play style, definitely what he's doing.
Yes,
as a player.
Yeah. So definitely, it happens in real life, and I think that's really interesting too. As someone who's played D&D, who plays D&D now, I didn't used to, but yeah, it's just something that you experience it in any D&D setting. Is like different personalities are going to get along differently.
I heard the horror story, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting how that affects the gameplay, and it's fascinating to watch. To watch that depicted, especially from people who are professional voice actors, like that's great. Yeah. So, what is y'all's favorite? This will be like kind of the thing we go out on. What is y'all's favorite thing about Critical Role?
Right now, Jester. She is. I just love everything about her. I'm like, she's a prankster. She's a cleric. She's really sweet. Because her husband plays this half orc. He's a paladin now. He used to be a warlock. That was a really interesting storyline.
Oh, wow.
But moving see our history, man.
That is a juxtaposition.
Yeah, but she's so awesome. But her husband plays him, and Jester has always seemed to have a crush on the half orc, and so it's like really cute just seeing them interact sometimes, even though it's so awkward. That for him, it's like I'm pretty sure Jester still, because when he almost got them killed that one time in the Happy Fun Ball, it seemed like she was not gonna like Jester wasn't gonna like that character anymore because she was mad at him for like the first time. Yeah. But recently they had this really awkward because she's actually really buff and strong for a cleric. Like that's I think it's either a choice or a home thing, where allowing her to be just naturally really strong. So she's like the buffest other than Yasha, which is like a barbarian lady, which I'm like, I've seen her art and I'm like,
yeah. Yasha. As Liam O'Brien would say, Yasha. Yasha's a badass. Also, it happens to be Ashley Johnson, so of course she's a badass.
It's really fun. She plays a little tiny gnome and then this giant. Doesn't she have an accent, Irish, a little bit?
Yeah. She's got a hint of like an Irish accent, I think.
Just a tiny little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jester. And so it's really cute whenever Jester flirts with Ford, which is his name, which is the half-orc's name.
Okay.
Because it's basically kind of her flirting with her husband. And so it's just cute and wholesome. It's precious.
It's just fun to watch. It's just because like Travis is trying so hard to like just stop it at all times, and she's just just gets him a little more.
Recently, I feel like he's leaning into it, and I feel like he's like, you know what? I think Ford would have at this point, because he's complimented her a few times, and he hasn't.
Definitely.
when Not like points it out, they're like, "Oh, he thinks you have a pretty face," or something like that. Something sweet he said. Ford, like at this point, he hasn't had him try to neglect. He just looks at them and he's like,
Yeah.
He doesn't continue, but he doesn't deny it anymore. So I'm thinking that Ford might like Jester.
He definitely leans into it now more. He at least like he makes a point to talk to Jester. When he got the new magic sword, he was like, "Hey Jester, check it out, snow angels."
Yeah, it was really cute. She was making snow angels, and the sword summons like snow. So he did it right above her, so it was snowing on top of her. She was doing snow angels. Oh my gosh, that's precious. And she asked if he wanted to work out recently. Yeah. And he rolled a 1 for push-ups. Oh, she rolled a 6, and she went first. So they thought maybe he just wanted to see her do it first because he knows she's so buff. Yeah. And it was right in front of her, and it was just so awkward and funny, and I loved it a lot because I think she was trying to initiate maybe something cute and flirty, and I think he was open to it, but then it turned out like that, and it was great.
And he rolled a 1, so like that workout failed real hard. So,
yeah. So, what's your favorite thing about Critical Role right now, Harley?
Okay, in the current campaign, I love Bo and Ford's relationship. I love the shipmate, the bros of like Bo always trying to get Ford to work out with her, and he's like, I can't do this because he's got a strength of 11 or something like that, crazy.
Yeah, that's
he's a bit stronger as a paladin. I think he went up maybe a 12.
That's right.
He's probably tired of it.
Yeah. Well, I think he always loved being the beef character because he played Grog as well. Yeah. But I think he was trying to just branch out, but sometimes he still hates it because Sam Riegel, who plays Not the goblin girl, points out how weak he is. And she said, if you comment on my strength one more time, I will throw you into the lava. And she goes, you couldn't. And everyone just burst into laughter.
Ouch, burn. Oh, snap.
So, sorry.
You beat me to it. I love all their interactions. That's the best part of the show for me, is just to watch a bunch of friends play D&D together.
Yeah, exactly.
They all know each other so well, so they're great at just improvising off what the other one does. Sam and Liam being best friends in real life helps out with Not and Caleb being, in whatever their crazy relationship is.
Yeah, they're starting to hint at more than friends recently.
Yeah, Not admitted at first she had a crush on Caleb, so when they first met.
But we don't know about Caleb yet. And there's been hints, and I'm like, I wonder. But she's married. So we'll see.
He's technically married with a child, so I don't know if that's going to
be. Ooh, tea.
Spicy.
Nice.
A lot of complicated relationship.
Yeah, right. It's a very deep. It sounds like it's a very deep lore to Critical Role now. So and getting deeper every time. So, is there anything else you'd like to add, Harley, to the stuff you like about it?
I'll go back to the first campaign mission. I love Pike and Grog, of course. They're great. When they're getting drunk together and just, that moment, after one of the characters leaves for a while and Pike and Grog drown their sorrows, and it's one of the best moments of Critical Role.
Yeah, because you think Scanlan left, which is their other gnome friend, which they love so much, and it's the funniest part ever. Mm-hmm. She's drunk, and they have these things where they can talk to each other.
Magic earrings where they can communicate
magic earrings. With each other. But she's like, and because she just told Grog, sometimes I talk to him, even though I know he can't hear me. And she's like, I talk to him. Does it say anything back? No, that's so sad.
Everyone loses it. They're like, oh.
Yeah, just clearly the guy, because he let Scanlan leave because he wanted to play this new character, and that was the time they made it kind of a secret thing. They made it seem like he was just gonna leave, and then he stormed off and everything, and then they suddenly meet the new guy, and they realize what's happening as Sam Riegel's talking again, and everyone's mad and laughing at the same time. It was awesome.
Sam and Matt conned the audience and his friends that night.
Yeah.
That sneak.
Pike and Grog are just adorable, dude. They're the gnome and the Goliath, best friends.
The tall and the small, they're
Yeah.
always best friends. It's so cute. All right. Well, I think that this has been incredibly informative. I've learned quite a bit and been touched by these
I really
stories.
geeked out about
Yes, I would very much like. I hope you guys got to geek out a little bit and enjoy yourselves geeking. Definitely, it was really, really informative for me as someone who has not been initiated properly in Critical Role just yet. So hopefully that, yeah, exactly. It maybe serves as like an advertisement for them. You know, they should be
When
paying
the
us.
animated series comes out, then you'll probably get into it.
There we go. Yeah,
I'm definitely looking at that. That'll be so much easier to get to show people stuff. I can't wait to see that. And doing that great Briarwood arc, I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh, I'm
Good
excited.
vampire arc.
I'm hyped.
Yeah.
Ooh, you know I like vampires. Okay,
Yes.
so
Mercy.
that's super exciting. So if y'all are good, we will go ahead and do a little outro and call it a night. So yeah, okay. So thank you guys so much as always for joining me, and thank y'all watching at home or wherever the heck you are. I don't know your life. So thank you for joining us. Really always appreciate you guys watching. If you like this video, please be sure to give us a like, hit that thumbs up. If you would like to become knighted in our medieval army, remember to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so that you will always know when we're uploading.
You take a sword and then you hit subscribe
You hit
right on the
subscribe,
screen.
You stab it really good.
Stab that subscribe button.
Stab that subscribe button and make sure that it stops
Subscribe.
moving. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.